Alrighty. Now we're live. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to whoever it is in the world you are streaming. Sorry, I'm a little late getting this. Get this. There we go. Now we're live. Gonna take a second for Twitter to join the show today, but that is acceptable. There we go. Every single time I do this, there's something off with the technology, but that's okay. I decided to start this stream a little early if you see me look over using my peripherals, it's because I'm watching the trophy ceremony for the New York Knicks, and they're about to award the Eastern Conference Finals trophy as well as the MVP. We got Walt Clyde Frazier and Patrick Ewing on the floor, an invasion. It's no longer an infestation of Knicks fans. It is an invasion, as they have taken over Cleveland as they did Philadelphia. Patrick Ewing presenting the trophy with hands on the trophy to Jalen Brunson. Wow. Man, it's been a while since I've felt these emotions. This is quite literally live after the final buzzer, so we're going to talk through this together, Knicks fans. I can't imagine there's going to be many other fan bases here, but job's not done, and it does look like on their face, their faces to me say, we've accomplished something, but the job's not done. And that is certainly the most important, as a lot of these guys on the floor certainly weren't alive, nor probably Knicks fans, for what happened in 1994 and 1999. But for those of us that were alive, there still is a little element of PTSD in letting yourself get emotionally invested in a team that has been so close a couple of times, yet fallen short, right? The younger generation, this is their moment. They don't know any better, and God bless. But for some of us veterans that were in the trenches for the 2 for 18 from John Starks at the Summit in Houston, that is my explanation as to why this stream may seem a little bit more stoic compared to some other Knicks fans that are out with the zombies doing their thing. And that's not meant to say they don't deserve it. It's just the way that I am choosing to proceed. It is more of a therapeutic option. What's happening, chat? Appreciate it. Yeah. Good night tonight. I appreciate the congratulations, as if I'm on the team, but no, I understand what you mean. Someone said, wow, how old are you? I was in the building for the game 6 at Market Square Arena, where the Knicks blew game 5, Reggie Miller choke sign game, had to go to Market Square Arena to get that victory in 1994. I watched John Starks walk across the floor and dap up Spike Lee 3 times. 1, 2, 3, let's go home. The Patrick Ewing tip slam, sending the Knicks to the finals against the Houston Rockets. That was the OJ Chase series as well. I mean, that is one of the biggest cultural moments in any millennial's life, was that series, for a multitude of reasons. And then John Starks in game 7, unfortunately, goes 0 for the field from beyond the arc, and 2 of 18, and the Knicks fall just short. And I did travel to Indianapolis for that game 6. I went to game 7, and I went to most of the finals games as well. So just being in attendance, I was fortunate enough. My dad was in sales at NBC Sports. He was an account executive. So at the time, he got tickets because he was supposed to be bringing clients, and then I'd always just kind of be the +1. And that's originally how I got into the Knicks in the NBA, was going to games starting with the Xavier McDaniel team of 1992. So I have been there. And I've been very close. And certainly the emotions are different now, a little bit more measured, considering that the Knicks have their tallest mountain to climb or hurdle to clear in the finals. And I hope we can accomplish some of that here on this show tonight. I'm going to scroll through some chats here before we get into this particular game. Do we even take away any X's and O's from this one? Landry Shamet can't miss. Mikal Bridges finally started missing. I thought he had a chance at stealing the conference finals MVP from Jalen Brunson if he came and gave us a 35-point performance tonight, but it is Jalen Brunson, and deservingly so. And what does this series look like if Cleveland holds on in that game 1? My one concern here is considering what the Knicks looked like for the 2.5 out of the 4 quarters of that game 1 because of the break, the full 8 days off that they had. I think they're about to have 9. They looked like the regular season Knicks. They were not up to speed, and it took them having to face the adversity of a 22-point deficit with 7 minutes remaining to really reignite that fire, and that will not work against Oklahoma City or San Antonio. Thoughtbox17 says it's a beautiful day to be a Knick fan. I'm outside and it is pandemonium. I assume, do I have any boots on the ground from people in the chat outside of Radio City because they assembled the NYPD like some scene out of Dark Knight Rises? I haven't seen. They didn't even get into formation like that for the movie. Party like it's 1999. Eric Stottle says, "Congrats, Wob, and happy as a Timberwolves fan for Cat." And he got into foul trouble again tonight. You all see that bullshit? The little that what they called on him reaching around to the hip of Jared Allen on some, and then he was out of the game. But what a luxury it is when you have Mitchell Robinson. And this was the first night of in quite a while, honestly, in which we have felt the presence of Mitchell Robinson on the glass. When he gets going like that, it requires three bodies, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, and someone else to get his ass out of the paint. And at the very least, he's going to be creating second chance opportunities. And for the first time in a long time, Mitchell Robinson's name was coming out of my mouth. Just Jimmy says, "Congrats, Wob. This is a great team to be proud of. Couldn't agree more." This is now the third year, mostly, of this team, this core, right? Since the OG Anunoby trade, the Jalen Brunson signing, and then obviously the Karl-Anthony Towns blockbuster. Look at Timothy Chalamet. He's got feet on the wood right now. Get out of the way. Get out of the way, Kylie. I got some pictures to take. Must be nice. Yeah, but I would say that this is a Knicks team that has certainly kept the core together. They didn't draft this team. You want to feel good for a San Antonio Spurs, or before they became the villains, like Golden State drafted Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond, and they were really your guys. But in a weird way, these have all become New York Knicks, despite all having successes elsewhere. This has never felt like a mercenary squad. They've been through all forms of basketball adversity in the regular season together: losses, injuries, coaches being fired, contrast in styles, upset stars with the way that they're being used. Once again, the one advantage that this team has over any future opponent is they have seen it all. There is not a single circumstance on a basketball floor that this team has not been through and knows how to resolve on the fly. If it's a big time deficit in a game, it's going down. It is a lack of energy. That's what makes me so confident in them, despite a, once again, very formidable opponent coming up that is going to be rightfully favored. Wow, is this the greatest night of your social media life? No. They won the East. And in a weird way, people, for those of you that have been watching my post-game videos since the beginning of the season, I made it very clear from night one, after seeing that team and the way that this is assembled, that I thought they could win the Eastern Conference. I wasn't willing to say the finals. I didn't know if they would have enough to beat the teams out of the West. And unfortunately, the way that we look against Oklahoma City in the regular season keeps reminding me of those sentiments as to why I thought originally they can only get one, maybe two games against OKC. But listen, if AJ Mitchell or J-Dub are going to be hurt, if they're going to get some more injuries in what's now going to be a war of attrition against San Antonio, anything's on the table. I'm not counting them out. But if both teams were full strength, I am a little concerned as to how the point of attack perimeter defense for Oklahoma City has shown us the last 2 years in 4 games, how they prioritize shutting down the entry pass to Karl-Anthony Towns, which has now become the Knicks' main offense. The entry pass goes to him at the top of the arc, and he has become the team's point guard. I know that's crazy to say because, wait a second, isn't a 7-footer a center? Yes, but as basketball evolves, we have now entered positionless basketball. It's the way that the game is played. So it's up to Karl-Anthony Towns to be setting the table. He's a distributor and an initiator more than a scorer. But if you needed him tonight to get past Jared Allen or Evan Mobley, he once again puts the ball on the floor. He dips his shoulder. He gives you one of those aggressive drop steps. He gets to the rim, and he didn't get a single call falling over. So he can really do it all, man. And he has been kerosene on the fire for everything that we needed in a complement or a supplement to what Jalen Brunson does as the former clutch player of the year. And obviously, the captain of our team. Can you think of a better player in the NBA, maybe Nikola Jokic, to put alongside Brunson to help magnify what he does well? Karl-Anthony Towns' ability to create for others, his floor stretching ability, being the unanimous best shooting big man on the planet. How else? And they don't even need to run pick and roll together. That's what's so fascinating about all of this, right? It's a perfectly constructed lineup. They're going to be as healthy as they have ever been. The vibes are as great as it's been since the Villanova days that they won a championship together. And then we're going to start throwing some dice here in the finals and see if these teams are up for playing some games in hell. Really fun team, says Johnny. Statballin says, not me. I wish I was in New York City right now. There's going to be people walking through Penn Station coming from another country. Penn Station has what, 1 million people go through it? There's going to be someone that booked a trip from like Estonia. I've waited my entire life to visit New York City. They're going to take a plane to Newark. They're going to get on the AirTran. They're going to take the New Jersey Transit, drop them off right in the heart. You can walk to Times Square. You can walk to Rockefeller Center, Grand Central. You're right in the middle of Midtown West. They're going to walk out those doors onto the street, and they're going to see people being eaten alive by zombies. And they're going to be like, this is not the New York. I thought this was only in the movies. What the hell is going on? They're going to get speared like Goldberg in a WCW ring. Welcome to New York. Just going for their necks because there's Knicks fans trying to go viral everywhere. Like, welcome to New York City. Perhaps you should not go outside if you're anywhere near Penn Station right now. Smacks says that pistol action will not work against Oklahoma City. For the Knicks, it has not worked in 2 years. Go look at some of the box scores from when the Knicks played against Oklahoma City. Karl-Anthony Towns can't get up a single shot outside the arc. They are in full denial of that with Alex Caruso. It is a strategy. Now, I'm rooting for the Spurs to win the series for many reasons. Of course, Victor Wembanyama is there, but we have shown no strategic deployment that it comes even close to being able to defeat that elite perimeter defense that makes Jalen Brunson, because of his size. They can throw Kaysen, they can throw Lou Dort, they can throw Shea. Just go down the list, man. They got so many guys, revolving door of physical, bigger defenders that have made Jalen Brunson look a little rough. But who am I to doubt this team right now? This is as far as I thought they would go, and only time will tell. Santiago says, I can't believe you're here and not partying. I appreciate the loyalty and the sacrifice. Thank you. Well, Santiago, it is a night to celebrate. But even these Knicks on the floor right now, you can tell that their celebration is reserved, considering that the job's not done. If this is the NBA Finals, I hope you all understand that I will be attending every single Knicks game for the entire Finals if they have 3 wins. So that will be, it's going to be tough for me to do shows when I'm sitting in the arena waiting for them to either close out that series or face a Game 7 elimination. So I want to get these out of the way now, because if the Knicks end up being on the verge, I will not be readily available. And I hope you guys understand that. I've waited 38 years of my life. Well, that's not true. 1992, I was like 6. That's when I started. 94, I was like 8. So 30. I've been waiting 30 years. Because 1999, I never once thought that we had a chance to win. Going into that series, I'm like, what's even the point of playing this? To their credit, those guys did win a game, but San Antonio was a juggernaut, and we were an 8 seed. So since 94, I would say it's been like 32 years now that I've been waiting for this feeling. And if the Knicks do win a championship, it'll probably be the last time that I create content around the Knicks for the rest of my life. I've said it once before and I'll say it again, but I'm a little different in the way with my fandoms of my sports teams, that when I get the first one, to me mentally, it's like sending your kids off to college. You still love them, but they're independent. They're on their own. You're not checking in every day, and nothing will ever beat the first one for me. So I will naturally grow apathetic, but I'm a dog chasing cars with my two remaining teams in the Mets and the Knicks. And it will be a euphoric feeling. I'll be at the Canyon of Heroes if they win. Just to understand that that's likely going to be the end of my Knicks content creating career. And that's a good thing, by the way. Think of the genie at the end of Aladdin. Think of Genie, Genie, you're free. It's kind of fun being shackled. You get to show off all these powers and create a life for yourself. But now that you've got your own sovereignty back, I want to be freed from this. It's an oxymoron, but it's a this enjoyable burden that has been on my shoulders since I started going to Knicks games in the early 90s. My last Knicks finals experience was heartbreaking. No, I think Don GB, your 94 was heartbreaking. 99 was just uh I don't even I thought I articulated that properly before. But yeah, Knicks fans, we should be here's this should be okay. This should be a little bit more positive. The status of AJ Mitchell and J Dub is now a main character in the Western Conference Finals, as J Dub is still questionable with what's been changed from hamstring soreness to a hamstring strain, and AJ Mitchell is out with a soleus, Soleous injury. I thought it was his calf. I'm not a doctor, but it's obviously bad enough to keep him out of 2 straight games, plus the one that he left. Um, if Oklahoma City goes into the finals without J Dub and AJ Mitchell, of course I'm going to change my mind on who I want to face. That's their second and third scoring options. And we saw last night that they have Detroit Pistons problems after Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, who's going to be their secondary option to take some of that pressure off of Shea. It should be Chet Holmgren, right? Should be. He's just completely AWOL, SOS. So I just have no faith in him burying our team. We don't have Victor Wembanyama, but we do have Mitchell Robinson. And on the San Antonio side, it's mainly just an experience thing. They don't have the same perimeter defense that Oklahoma City does, but it's still like easily second best in the NBA, and it's fucking elite. So they are no slouch. But if I had to choose, it would be San Antonio. First of all, we beat them twice this season. I think we lost a close game in San Antonio. We won the NBA Cup against them. Oklahoma City, we just haven't had a chance against their full lineups. They have blown us out of the water, and it's such a bad matchup. I hate the matchup. I really do. Any team that has elite perimeter defenders that are interchangeable, not just one or two, they can switch everything against Brunson. Ugh, I can already see the difficulty of shots that are going to be required from our team. Now, tonight, the Knicks got out and scored 26 fast break points in the first half alone. We may score 26 fast break points all series against Oklahoma City. That's my fear and my concern. And I know a lot of you are coming in here watching this on replay or currently live, and you're thinking, why is he not more positive? And I am, I promise. I'm very happy. But I did provide the context at the beginning of the program, if you're just joining us, about why I still feel PTSD from being so close in the finals, and I'm just not there yet, ready to celebrate. And what was I going to say? Lost my train of thought. And this is what happens when you're old. You just forget the things that you're going to say. But yeah, why am I not happier? I'm forcing myself to remain apathetic. Use this superpower that I've been blessed with. Jake Blum asks, will we be seeing you for any games in the Garden? Yes, anytime that the Knicks have three wins or more. Well, if the Knicks have 3 wins in the series, I'll be there. Yes, every game. If it's in San Antonio, I'll be staying with Antonio Daniels. I'll be sleeping on his couch, and he's going to force me to watch the closeout game at the Garden, I assume, as payment for rent. Carter James says Jay Wright should get some hardware for this. That one Nigel says the Knicks could be the first team to do the NBA double with the finals and the NBA Cup. And of course, the NBA Cup right now is just a punchline and a joke with most NBA Twitter fans. But it will mean something someday. I'm sure the FA Cup in England didn't matter the first couple of years that they did it, but now that it has the prestige of being around for multiple centuries, it is one of the most cherished trophies in all of Europe. So To have your name in the record books as the first team to complete an NBA double will matter someday. You want to take care of that business now so that when a new generation does start to care about it and doesn't just see it as a paid partnership, Emirates, NBA Cup, this is just the NBA squeezing us for more money. The games are good enough that it will matter someday. And the Knicks have the ability to accomplish something that no one's ever done before. Someone had to make the first three-pointer in NBA history. Once upon a time, there was no three-point line. Did NBA three-point records matter after the first season? No, it's the first season. We got to give it some time. And then as the game evolves, we'll start to see players that are proficient in this facet of the game. And it took decades for threes to actually like hit with influence and have cultural relevance. Now, we've all been alive for the three-point era, and it's just a part of the game. I'm telling you, one day the NBA Cup will just be part of the game in the same way. So yeah, I am looking forward to the potential of the Knicks accomplishing something that no franchise in NBA history or ABA franchise history, league history, has ever done. I wish I could speak English today. Braska. I'll never forget the Porzingis Amazing Grace Periscope I've been watching for a long time. So hyped. Did I do that? Was that the night that TJ McConnell hit a game winner against us? 76ers Knicks. Did I play Amazing Grace that night? Or was it when he got traded? It was one of the two. But wow, that's a long time follower. So some of you are probably new, watching this stream for the first time. Who the fuck is this guy that keeps coming up on my timeline? Meanwhile, some of you have been here since 2009. Like, my challenge as a content creator is always to produce stuff that is relevant, newsworthy around current events, but also tapping into the history of the community so that I can retain all of you that have spent these years following the story. Hang the banner, by the way. Hang the fucking banner. Hang the NBA Cup banner. And I'm afraid for Kenny Atkinson because, once again, that is a great dude that has really made himself available to me specifically and professionally. He didn't have to be so. I've done 2 exclusives with him for SiriusXM. And the way that he listens to questions, that he responds, and he gives you like a genuine answer that doesn't reveal the game plan, but something of substance is not usually the case. And it's not just with me. He has always been someone that his colleagues have spoken highly of. And I'm using this to preface, I am worried about his job in Cleveland. I thought it would be safe coming into this series. But after what happened in game 1, not changing up the strategies, the analytics comments, I'm sure they won analytically tonight too. It's just a little out of touch. And I don't know if James Harden says, you traded for me. We had a spoken agreement, a handshake agreement. I'm not coming back unless like Kenny Atkinson gets fired or something. Now we've got politics involved in this. And I'm afraid for Kenny Atkinson's job because he is the one guy, the coach is always the one guy that can be thrown under the bus without repercussions to the salary cap. You can fire coaches, but you can't fire players. What's up, YouTube? Max is there. Says Antarctica Nation, passport stamped, locusts assemble. Man, they are assembled outside Madison Square Garden right here. Oh, the comment Senate is in the YouTube channel. What's happening, Alex? Good to hear from you. Somehow, some way, yes, I do have people that are still watching these streams after all these years. I don't know what's kept you around, but I do appreciate you. And it's the reason why we keep doing them. GM Brock 2012 says, are you worried about the break between games, or do you think this break will help? I think it will most certainly not help in most regards. The one that it will, obviously, is with health. So Josh Hart looked like tonight he re-aggravated his thumb injury a bit. OG Anunoby has looked fine this series, but we know he's had a hamstring injury that flares up. And anyone that's been dealing with injuries behind the scenes that we just haven't heard about because it's kept within the locker room, they are now going to have the opportunity to have about 9 days off. They can go to Cancun and come back and get ready for the finals. So that's the good news. The bad news is we saw the way that the Knicks looked coming into the Eastern Conference Finals after an 8-day break after sweeping the Philadelphia 76ers. That was not the Knicks team that I identified in this playoffs thus far. They had no playoff energy. They were sluggish, miscommunicating on defense, being out of the grind for too long, I think has diminishing returns. And I am afraid that is going to occur again in game one of the finals. And that's going to be a team which you will not be coming back against 22 points down with 7 minutes left. This is not meant to be doom and gloom, Knicks fans, I promise. But you're also talking to the guy who got this is also part of the reason, honestly, that I think I am not invited to all of these like Knicks fan events with all the content creators and stuff. It's been crickets for years. And it's mostly because I picked the Pacers to beat us back-to-back playoff series. Pacers are one of the Knicks' biggest rivals, but I would rather predict series or predict the future objectively and root subjectively. Pick objectively, root subjectively, which means think with your brain and root with your heart. And with the Pacers' depth the past couple of years and the way that they played was just such a bad matchup for the Knicks, considering their depth and how top heavy those teams were going with minutes and the lack of rotation. I thought we might lose the war of attrition. That's exactly what happened. And if I'm sitting here telling you that I think Oklahoma City is going to beat us 4-1, 4-2 if they're fully whole, I guess it makes me look good that I'm right, but it doesn't do me any favors with the faithful at Madison Square Garden that operate behind the scenes like the KGB. It's all propaganda. It's like the Knicks can do no wrong, and we want content creators that will always fight for us no matter what. More of a microcosm of society today, but I do think that contributes to me being exiled a little bit as away from. They sent a whole bunch of fans to the Knicks to Cleveland tonight. You know, if you qualified as one of those Knicks creators, like we will send you. It doesn't bother me because I'd rather be objective, honestly. But I think that's part of the reason. So when I'm sitting here telling you that the Knicks are going to struggle against a fully whole Oklahoma City, and I think the series will be 4-1 or 4-2, I mean that with my brain, but not my heart. What's up, Manzo? Congrats, Wob. If the Knicks are playing like this, they should take out OKC should they advance, which I hope they don't for obvious reasons. Oh, Sonics fan, of course. I think we will lose to Oklahoma City and we can beat San Antonio. That's my official position, but I reserve the right to change that depending on the status of J-Dub and AJ Mitchell, because all that goes out the window if those two are not available. It changes the entire dynamic of their offense. And if they're shooting inefficiently, they're going to have to defend in secondary transition a lot more often than they're used to. That'll put pressure on that perimeter, and I think the Knicks can find a way to get Karl-Anthony Towns trail threes. That's his favorite three, by the way. When he's off your television screen and he just slowly steps across like the half-court line and he steps into those threes, Jose Alvarado is the master of setting him up for those, and Jalen Brunson's gotten even better. Karl-Anthony Towns hits those threes, and then you got Shamet and McHale in the corner. It's been fucking lights out, but it's been lights out for a reason. Have you noticed that everyone's been saying the Knicks can't keep shooting like this for the past month? Like for the past month, not the past week, the past month. All they do is get wide open practice gym threes in rhythm, and that shit is contagious. The ball is moving. The distribution from Karl-Anthony Towns creating for some of those wing guys and always choosing the right item from the menu is most certainly a skill. He has become the team's point guard, with Jalen Brunson being the team's scoring guard. Shamet. Yeah, fucking Shamet. McHale. Does anyone notice, by the way? Is this of concern to any Knicks fans? Did you notice McHale has the hitchback in his free throws? I know no one's going to care about this because we should be celebrating right now, but the hitch is back. That was from the preseason too. I noticed that in the fourth quarter, and I sat up on in my couch and I had to rewind for a second. The hitch, he does this weird like Charles Barkley golf swing, and he's been making them. But I thought he got rid of the hitch. All right. I'm not going to question someone that's been shooting lights out. But I did notice that the hitch is back. So maybe that'll be a thing if we get to the finals and he starts shooting inaccurately. I don't know why it's back. But go back and watch his free throws. It stutters on the way up. It glitches on the way up. Still love you, McHale. But it's just something that I noticed. Maybe I'll get an answer to that. Corey says, Wob, it doesn't matter who wins the West. We want all the smoke. It does matter who wins the West. I'm sorry, Corey. It does matter who wins the West. If San Antonio wins, the Knicks are not going to be favored, but it'll be a coin flip series. This is a drastic difference in tactics and matchups. NBA is all about matchups. Seeds don't matter. It's about path and matchups. And I'm telling you right now, Oklahoma City is far head and heels above a worse matchup for us than San Antonio. There's a reason why we beat the Spurs twice. Look at the way that we take OG Anunoby and we 3/4 front Victor Wembanyama, force him to always catch those inbounds passes on the sidelines as opposed to the middle of the floor. Then you have an all-NBA defender in OG Anunoby who's got the size and the foot speed to be able to stay in front of Victor Wembanyama and force him into some difficult looks. I don't think that's an accident. I love our defensive strategy against the Spurs, and we are really, really going to force Victor Wembanyama to have to make hero ball type of shots in the half-court set against us because everyone else is going to be staying at home on their assignments. We also have the option of Mitchell Robinson, if needed, to play him straight up. We have a lot more optionality against San Antonio than we do OKC. You should absolutely be rooting for San Antonio if you're a Knicks fan. Absolutely. Sleevey 98 in the chat says, going to all those games will be expensive. Well, I'll be flying between the cities, but I'll likely just get a media credential unless Ben Stiller decides to let me sit with him, which would be like a $500,000 invitation. That'd be nice. I'll talk to him later about it. He's probably partying right now. Unspoken Media says, I was 18 in 1992. I've been waiting a while for this. I would say there's three. There's three factions of Knicks fans. The ones that were alive for the 94 finals, ones that were alive after, and then the complete new generation that has no clue what happened for 15 to 20 years when the Knicks were the biggest joke of a franchise in professional sports. If you are young enough that you didn't even experience that, right now, the Knicks have always been good in your lifetime. Anyone that has been rooting for the Knicks since the RJ Barrett draft, all you've seen is a Leon Rose team that is functional, that is professional, that is competitive, does things the right way. I'm telling you, between 2001 and 2014, this was a team that once traded assets to bring in an expiring contract in Tracy McGrady just to have the cap space to be able to offer to LeBron James in the decision summer. And then we all saw the Pablo Torre Finds Out episode with me in it, what they decided to show him that day as a sales pitch. So this team has been I was alive for the Jerome James, J squared. Remember that commercial if you're old enough? Who said that? Unspoken Media in the chat. You remember the Jerome James MSG commercial, the hyping up J squared? That was the Knicks for like 15 years. That's why I think some of us are a little bit more reserved and hesitant, just because we know what's at stake here, what we've been through, and how far we fell. Osboy3 says, we want more post-game content. You will get it. I will be here until the Knicks have 3 wins in the finals, and then it's going to be a little bit, I'm going to have to piece it together after that. Wobb's giving me Last Supper vibes. If the Knicks win the championship, yeah, I'm sailing off into the sunset like the end of Lord of the Rings. My life will be complete. I'll just go travel a little bit, move on with my life. San says, do you think this is the one and only chance to win it, since the Spurs are only going to keep getting better? It's not even that. I mean, look at the Indiana Pacers and how close they were. 1 game away, one Halliburton injury away from potentially hoisting the Larry O'Brien trophy. And then you figure, before the injury, Halliburton's coming back next year. At the very least, we're going to be right back here. You know what Antonio Daniels tells me all the time? My partner on my Sirius XM radio show, Monday through Friday, Channel 86. He won a championship on Madison Square Garden floor in 1999. They went into training camp thinking, we're all coming back. Like, we're about to repeat. We are by far the best team in the NBA. We are by far the best team in the Western Conference. And it's just a formality. Injuries started to happen, and they did not repeat. If Oklahoma City does not win this year, the overwhelming favorites should easily be the overwhelming favorites to start the season. Why wouldn't they be? Injuries happen. Bad matchups happen. The Boston Celtics lose to the New York Knicks after Jason Tatum goes down. Golden State Warriors in 2016 blow a 3-1 lead. What else? Denver Nuggets with Murray and Jokic after running through the NBA. They surely will be back. All these teams fall short for a reason. So while I want to answer your question, Sam, by saying the Knicks on paper, of course, should be one of the most formidable contenders in the Eastern Conference, there's so much unexpected shit that can happen. And we will also be playing more basketball than 28 other teams in the NBA. So we're putting more miles on the odometer, which makes the recovery time between the end of the season and the beginning of next season shorter. I don't think there's ever a guarantee, even if it looks good on paper. No. So you got to make the most of your window, especially considering the aprons and the salary cap today and how often we see churn with these rosters because it's really difficult to keep a team together underneath the aprons. You're starting to see turnover more and more, a lot more frequently. Expedited, I should say. Oh, good point, Jish. Yes. Giannis is so young. 2021. Giannis is so young. What was that? Year 6, year 7? The Bucks are easily going to come back and win another. For sure, right? Oh, thank you to the Twitter doctors in the chat. Soleus is under the calf. Okay, so that sounds like something that's between the calf and the Achilles. Soleus is a calf muscle deep to the gastrocnemius. 7-8, what's happening? Says, hi, I'm in tears. We are on our way. Yes, sir. 4 to go. Have you seen those margin of victories for the New York Knicks in these closeout games? 50-something, 51 against Atlanta, 30 against Philly, and that game was a lot worse than 30. And then tonight, 37 something. It would be the first NBA Cup rematch if the Spurs won. How about that? KC's rule in the chat says, at this point, is it just the Knicks hoping that someone on OKC or the Spurs gets dinged up? Feel like both teams are so deep. They'll both be favored against the Knicks, and I think deservingly so. But if they don't go into that series with AJ Mitchell and J-Dub, we're going to have ourselves a different conversation for sure. Landry Shamet is pretty damn good, says Jesus, I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little flustered. Stu D. Meglio. Shamet is pretty damn good. Well, he's pretty damn good when he's wide open in the corner in rhythm. He gave the Knicks some defensive performances as well. How many times in that Philly and Cleveland series when the Knicks needed a stop and he gets switched on into an island? Offense, defense switch have had Landry Shamet on the floor for Jalen Brunson. That's how far he has come. Now, this is a guy that's been through the playoffs to the finals with the Phoenix Suns in the past. He's been in the playoffs with the Clippers, but he's having one of the best seasons of his career right now, and he's exactly what the Knicks need, as many 3 and D guys to surround Brunson and Cat with. Mike Brown won the revenge series. Mike Brown has a lot of revenge series. Mike Brown has been around so long that Antonio was telling me today about Mike Brown being his shooting coach, one of his shooting coaches with the 1999 champion Spurs. That's how long Mike Brown's been around. Sorry, my silence, people, is just me reading some chats. If you've made it this far now, 40 minutes into the show, you may just be joining us. You may still be watching on replay. I'm trying to keep a very stoic cadence about the delivery of this program, as I'm obviously excited and very proud of our boys, but understanding that the mission is not complete. And I have been here before. And I hate to think about it because my entire fandom in my life was shaped probably by the 1994 finals. It was the first team that I ever really cared about as a kid. I started becoming a New York Mets fan, an Indianapolis Colts fan, and a UNC basketball fan. But the Knicks was my first real experience into fanaticism. And when you really, as a kid, you don't know any better, you're all in. You have nothing else to worry about. And your favorite player, John Starks, goes 2 of 18 from the floor. I do wonder if the Knicks would have won that series, how my life would be different. The way that I perceive things, the way that what matters, right? Would I have been someone that was privileged and spoiled because my team won right away? Would I have appreciated it? I don't know what the answers are, but it would have made me a different person. And I'm very thankful with the way that my life has ended up through 38 years. And this would be a really nice way to close this chapter of it. Chill Nako says, Wob, I love you. I love you too. I don't know you, but I love you too. How about that? All time Haji says, hey, Rob, congrats. Appreciate you, Haji. John's Line says 11,000 live viewers after the win. What a goat. Up to 15 now. Appreciate you, John. Got a lot of locusts in here. Comment Senate stand up. So much joy. I see all you. I'm just scrolling, catching up on some comments here. Feel free to drop them in. YouTube, you're there as well. 38. Yes. Did the gray beard not give it away, YouTube? Jeez. A lot of locusts in the YouTube chat. Sorry, these comments just keep coming in. There's so many of you in the Twitter side. AB says the hitch as long as the ball goes into the basket. Yeah, I'm not going to. No one complained about Sean Marion's shot. Do I remember the Phil Jackson days? Yeah, of course. Him using the term posse prevented LeBron James from becoming a New York Knick. Stu says Mike Francesa believes San Antonio would be tougher for the Knicks, that they thinks they could beat OKC. Then we are in good business. We are cooking if the Knicks play the Spurs, if that's the case. Jerome James still can't believe that the Knicks gave him that money, and they made an entire marketing campaign around him as well. I guess they had to when they spent that type of money on him. 7-8 says, I was born 8 months after they lost Game 7. I didn't watch the 99 finals. I watched almost every game in the Isaiah Thomas era. I can't believe I'm going to watch this franchise play in the finals, and it's one in which you are very confident in this team. That's the different sentiments. Winning the Eastern Conference in 1999 felt like the finals. I remember what are we even doing here? How did we get invited to this party with all the prom queens? How are we at the Playboy Mansion? That's how it felt to be in the 1999 finals as a Knicks fan. 94 was a different story. I think that team had 4 home losses all season. That team was super elite. But yeah. This team is worthy of, if you choose to be spiritually available, emotionally invested, and if you were to, I don't blame you. Like Game 1, I'm all in on this team. This is not me trying to bring you back down to earth and be a turd in the punch bowl. I'm not trying to be a party pooper. I'm simply sharing my personal experience and why you won't find me all in until we get to 3 wins. That's all. But everybody's different, and there's no right way to be a fan. I hope all of you know that. There's no rules. There's, as much as some of these people out there want to create the 10 commandments of you're not a true fan unless, listen, man, a lot of people aren't online. Do what makes you happy. If you want to get really excited about this Knicks team, God bless, because I think they're worth it. He'd be the best Knick of all time. Oh, if Jalen Brunson wins a title, so it's going to be between him and Clyde. And I loved what I heard from, gosh, what was I watching? Oh, I think it was Antonio was on the podcast with, I was watching him this morning with Max Kellerman and Rich Paul. And I think Max Kellerman posed the question, if Jalen Brunson wins a title, where does he rank as an all-time Knick? And they came to the correct decision that this should be up to Clyde to decide. So Clyde has 2 rings. He's been with the Knicks calling games for decades, plural. If Clyde says Jalen Brunson is the best Knick of all time, it's just stamped and official, and you can build him a statue outside of Penn Station. Yes. He will pass Patrick Ewing, who's probably the consensus number 2, if not number 1. There's Bernard King, there's Carmelo, there's Frazier. But I think it's going to be Brunson, considering the amount of years that the Knicks have been irrelevant, that the Knicks have struggled. It's the only team in New York that has the entire metropolis rooting for it, because the Brooklyn Nets are new and they don't count. They're New Jersey. They have more fans in New Jersey than they do New York. So the Knicks are the only professional sports team in the entire metropolis that everybody roots for, which is why the city shuts down. On the baseball side, you've got the Knicks. Oh my God, why can't I fucking talk? On the baseball side, you've got the Yankees and the Mets. Football, you've got the Giants and the Jets. Hockey, well, the Devils are in New Jersey, but the Islanders and the Rangers, you got 3. Even there's multiple soccer teams with the Red Bulls and NYCFC, right? All of these sports are so fractured into their little communities and neighborhoods, but not the Knicks. Not the Knicks. The Knicks matter the most in that city, and they always have. And I do think Jalen Brunson should be immortalized, considering what was necessary to get this particular championship. He will go down as the best Knick of all time. Clutch player of the year. Captain Clutch. His dad played for he's got a legacy with Rick Brunson there on the bench in the 99 team, man. Oh my God, just the fucking storylines. And Rick Brunson on that floor in 1999 as a player, and now he's a coach with his son out there. That's got to be part of my Game 7 hype video, which I will, breaking news, be producing if it is Spurs versus Knicks only, just because I'll be tapping into the 1999 nostalgia, and there's so many crossovers with the players and everything. So I have done 2 of those hype videos in the past, and I will do a 3rd if it's Spurs versus Knicks specifically. Appreciate you, Nick Asian. Yeah, if you guys wouldn't mind liking Twitter, subscribe, or retweet, whatever. We show our love to Profit X, and they're the ones producing this stream for us. So if you're not going to be using the website, just helping spread the word about these streams has always been appreciated. Thank you all. JJNR says, hey, Wob, bold call on your Knicks right from the start of the season. Congrats. Well, this is as far as my prediction takes us. I didn't think it would be this obvious that the Knicks have a real shot at the finals. But yes, night 1 declared that this team can win the Eastern Conference Finals, and you will see why. And here we are. Zippy says, if the Knicks win game 1 of the finals by 30+, will there be champagne even though there's 3 to go? No. All-Time Haji says, I was an Arsenal fan for the past 25 years, Rob. I completely understand your cautious optimism. Thank you. Unspoken Media says, Penn Station right now is insane. I can't imagine it. Because there's people there like trying to go to work and shit. And it's seen out of 28 days later, I imagine. Stu says that's 100 and true. Brunson would be number 2 behind Frazier. But if Frazier says, crown that man, he's the best Knick of all time, then the fans have no choice but to consider unanimously. I love that we can defer to Clyde on this. I think and Clyde would love to make that decision. He has been the most selfless, most famous Knick for decades. He was there to appreciate Patrick. He was there to appreciate Melo. And I think he would be the first to say, man, thanks for the love all these years, but you got to give the crown to Brunson. Gabe in the YouTube chat is saying if it's a closeout game at Madison Square Garden, what's the get-in price? So that would be game 6 most likely because the Knicks aren't going to sweep the West. Maybe anything's possible at this point. Game 6 at the Garden would be the last game of the year. Get-in price, I would guess near 3,000. If the Knicks are up 3-2, I would say $3,000 to get in per ticket. Yeah. Jish says that I think Brunson has done enough to get his jersey retired. Yeah. Yeah. He's had just about the same tenure as Carmelo, and Brunson's going to be around for many more years. So yeah, like if he just retired at the end of the season, even before a finals, does he still get his jersey retired? It's pretty close. But yeah, I think that's as close to a guarantee as it gets. Carmelo Anthony did not win Eastern Conference Finals MVP. No, he did not. Still love Melo. Only thing admittedly, the only thing I don't like about Carmelo Anthony is, and he's allowed to do whatever he wants, by the way, because it's his wardrobe. Why is it he the only one on the entire NBC set who's not in a suit? It always stands out to me. He's wearing nice clothes. Everyone else is in a suit and he's in like club attire. I'm the type of guy that when I was coaching my basketball team and they were like middle school kids, I would still show up in suit and tie. I love they still do it in some college teams last time I checked, some colleges, but I love the aesthetic of the suit and tie on a basketball court. I think it plays a lot better than a football field. But he's in like off-colored mellow wear. And I'm also not someone who's like, you have to, David Stern, like you have to wear suit and tie, otherwise you're fine. Like people should be able to wear what they want. It looks out of place. And who's going to be the one to tell Carmelo Anthony, like, hey, Melo, can you please put on a suit? I don't think that's ever going to happen. Right? It does. I'm not the only one. YouTube chat's going off on this. He looks like he's going to the club when everyone else is getting ready for a job interview. At least be consistent with it. So if Carmelo wants to wear his club attire, maybe T-Mac and Vince Carter, and Maria's obviously in female attire. But there's just no consistency. That's my problem. Jane Stacy in the Twitter chat says, how nice will it be not to have to put up another Atlantic Division banner? The Knicks would put that up before an NBA Cup championship banner. They love their Atlantic Division banners. We didn't even win the Atlantic, did we? No, Boston won it. But the Knicks do put up Eastern Conference champion banners, and I think they should. We are not the Lakers, and we are not the Celtics. Gabe says, I believe if the Knicks win, Mike Breen would be the first play-by-play guy to get championship ring, as he's also play-by-play for the Knicks. Mike Breen would be the first. That's a stat Helwick would need to look up, but it sounds about right. Will there be an Eastern Conference champion banner? Likely, because there's many hanging from the rafters in Madison Square Garden. They would rather put up Billy Joel banners than the NBA Cup banner. That's what's bothered me the most. While Madison Square Garden is an iconic venue for more than just basketball or more than just the Knicks, it's Big East basketball. It's probably the most desirable arena to view entertainment in general. They've always wanted to make that into an eclectic ring of honor. But man, listen, the Knicks need to be prominent as the Rangers are as well. Tyler is in the chat asking if Knicks win the championship, do they hang an NBA Cup banner next to it? I think it might go up together. They may reconsider if they can pair the championship with the cup, like put a little side banner, a little mini me next to Dr. Evil. That plays. I just want the recognition, man. I think the NBA Cup's going to mean something one day. Just says that Rick Pitino takes the mantle with wearing suits. Now coaches are wearing athleisure and basically pajamas. Enough of this quarter zip nonsense. And with Pitino being in New York City with St. John's, I love when coaches, especially in the Northeast, like the New Jersey high school scene, inner city scene, I love it when it's like a formal, everyone's in suit and ties. It's just got a big game feel to it. That's all. And again, I'm not going to be someone who should, if someone's adamant, I don't want to wear a suit. I don't want to wear a suit. You don't have to wear a suit. I'm just telling you, I like the way that it looks. Habino says, we earned this, Wob. We earned this in all caps. Yes, we did. We, the fans, earned this. We had to watch a lot of bullshit throughout the years. If there's any Knicks fans left over here in the chat, I imagine some of you are just chilling, listening to me yap, and I appreciate you, but I would love to hear what your favorite low moment in Knicks 2000s history was. For me, it was trading assets to bring in Tracy McGrady and then whiff completely on LeBron James, only to give that money to Amari Stoudemire, who, albeit was great for the Knicks, got an uninsured or contract that did not have knee insurance in it in the event he hurt it. And guess what happened? Like his knee was put together with toothpicks and Band-Aids. And the Knicks gave him a fully guaranteed deal without insurance. What was your favorite low point in mid-2000s Knicks history that makes you feel an appreciation for what they have accomplished tonight? While I wait for your chats, I'll continue reading some of the others. Karzai says, speaking of NBA on NBC, I'm just curious, did Disney just drop the bag to exclusively hold the finals on this current TV deal, or did the NBA just prefer Disney to keep the finals? I don't know if that makes sense. Why not just do a shuffle with the media partners like the NFL does with the Super Bowl? I know Silver loves ESPN for his idea of the younger demo end games. Yeah, remember that Disney wants the finals because they do all sorts of movie integration and promotion during it. And they pay the most last time I checked. I don't know what the deals are for the current, because ESPN took a step back in the amount of games that they broadcast, and a lot of their exclusivity is now being distributed to Amazon as well as NBC. But ESPN does have the finals, or ABC does have the finals. But now that NBC is a partner, you would think maybe they get into the mix at some point because they have the over-the-air distribution. ABC's over-the-air, NBC's over-the-air. That one Nigel says, our middle school boys basketball coach made us wear suit and ties to schools on game day. Aura was through the roof. We weren't allowed to play if we didn't have a suit and tie on. We weren't allowed to play in the game if we did not wear a suit and tie to class that day. Yeah. Jane Stacy says, the Pablo Torre video with you watching the LeBron pitch was incredible. I'm still to this day, like when Harvey Weinstein popped up on the screen after Trump, who was all part of the LeBron pitch video. I say it when Pablo asked for my reaction, I'm like, that could have been a lot worse. I thought Epstein was going to come up next, which was very realistic. I was just like, make it stop. Too many controversial characters, man. Oh, I'm getting suggestions here. Andrea Bargnani. We traded unprotected first round pick for him? At least one, right? I forgot what that deal was. I'm the Sin says Eddie Curry. Eddie Curry was pretty bad. By the way, I'm the Sin. Do you think I forgot? Do you think I have short-term memory loss? What you said before this series started about James Harden, would you like to explain yourself? because James Harden just ended the playoffs with 7 out of 18 games where he recorded more turnovers than made baskets. And when I tell you that being a Harden apologist is no longer a choice, it's a condition, I hope you understand. The McDyess trade, that was actually, I thought would go well, the McDyess trade, until the injury. McDyess was a monster pull for the Knicks. Amari punching the fire extinguisher up there. We were going to lose that series against the Heat anyway. But if I'm not mistaken, Jeremy Lin was down too, right? He broke his hand on the fire extinguisher or finger or something. Not a Knicks fan, but a low point memory of the 21st century was that dreaded 2015 season. Was that like the Clint Anthony Early, Jason Smith team? Where they won? Was that the DeAndre Jordan team? Wait, no, that couldn't have been DeAndre Jordan. Was that the year that Mario Hezonja blocked LeBron James? No, 2015. That was his first year with the Lakers. Sorry. Yeah, that was well past then. That was like 2021. 2015, who's on that 2015 team? You got to remind me. If I could pick any 3 announcers to call the finals, who would they be? Mike Breen, play-by-play? Jeff Van Gundy? Mark Jackson? Color analyst? Play-by-play analyst / storyteller? You asked, there's your answer. Lou Amundsen and Lance Thomas, that's the team. Thank you, Alex. I knew I was onto something. Lou Amundsen, oh my God, he came from Phoenix, if I'm not mistaken. Jason C in the chat says, do you think the fact that Point Cat has become, hold on, this grammar is a little difficult. Do you think the fact that Point Cat has come into fruition is due to Mike Brown having experience in his past teams where the big was a playmaker, Draymond in Golden State and Sabonis? I would normally say yes, but it took him 3/4 of the season to start using Cat as the initiator of the offense, and more than 3/4, like 5/6 of the season in. Why wasn't that done previously? But of course, he has run that type of offense before. He was the offensive coordinator for those Golden State Warriors teams. But Domantas Sabonis couldn't shoot in volume like Karl Anthony Towns does, even though he was being used as, pistol action or the first option in pistol action or the flex flash to the top of the arc. Like, yeah, those guys also always received the first pass. I just don't know if there was more similarities to it than that. The Charles Oakley moment where he got into a fight with Dolan at the game, that was a low point. Sleevey says the Knicks' shitty years had their perks. I remember getting 10 tickets in 107 for $100 a pop. I took my dad to a Charlotte Bobcats game, the last game that he has been to. I took him to a Charlotte Bobcats game. We sat in the 100 levels in the early 2010s when I moved back to New York for like a year or two. Early 2010s, we sat for like $50, $60 a piece. Now, inflation obviously has sent everything through the roof. The market is making people incredibly rich. New York's got a shit ton of money. How else do you think we invade every other arena? That shit costs money. But yeah, long gone are the days of $100 a pop. Zachavelli says Steve Novak, Quentin Richardson, and a pick for Andrea Bargnani. That pick was unprotected, if I'm not mistaken, and it ended up in the lottery. Can you double check that for me? Oh, Kevin Knox. John's Lime in the chat. Kevin Knox days. Man, no hate, but the fact we was hype was tough cheese. Man, I am guilty. I'm usually pretty damn accurate with a lot of my Knicks foresight and predictions. You guys have always known me as an objective Knicks fan that doesn't have their vision blinded by orange and blue goggles. I can tell you when the Pacers are going to beat us. I can tell you when the Knicks are going to fall short. And I'm still reserving the right to retract my OKC can beat us pretty easily in the finals, depending on the availability of AJ Mitchell and Jalen Williams. But man, let me tell you, where I was absolutely wrong, I thought Kevin Knox was going to, he looked like a Kevin Durant in the making at Summer League. He was so good at Summer League, man. I drank the Kool-Aid. I was willing to give him a chance even when he was kicked to the curb. I'm like, I can see the talent. It's there. And it just never came to fruition. Good callback, Johns. Emma says Harden deserves a jersey in the rafters. If we win the title, most certainly. That was an embarrassing series. And I thought he got away with the game 7 against the Detroit Pistons where he went 2 of 10 from the field. He was completely irrelevant. And somehow that game did not even qualify as one of the 7 of the 18 in which he had more turnovers than made field goals. Somehow he was horrible in that game. But because the team won, no one's going to talk about it. Kevin Knox was kind of mid in college, but you saw the potential. He was so long, man. His release was unguardable. It just never went in. And he was soft. When he got the ball ripped from him by Zion Williamson in that Summer League game, it was like, oh boy, I don't know if this is going to work out. The rebounding god, Kyle O'Quinn. Isn't he a stand-up comedian now? Kyle O'Quinn is just slowly being integrated into the Knicks alumni because they have him sitting courtside for the games against the Wizards and the Jazz and all the shitty teams. When they do like the celebrities at the game, you get all the D-listers, some influencers. They come up on the MSG screen. And once a Knick, always a Knick. Welcome in Kyle O'Quinn. And you get like a Lance Thomas sighting with playing the Sacramento Kings on a Wednesday night. Harden, oh man, chat knows ball. I'm Spartacus. It is Harden sober, the same way that we're Clippers sober, never trusting the Clippers ever again. I want to see some hashtag Harden sober on the internet, man. Some of you need an intervention if you're still going to defend him. You can defend his accomplishments in the past. He didn't win an MVP by accident. That's all deserving. I'm not trying to take that away from him, but right now, if he's on your team, you are not winning the championship. It's that simple. The Knicks gave up a 2016 first-round pick in the Bargnani trade that ended up becoming Jakob Poeltl. They also gave up the pick that was Jamal Murray in the Melo deal, also in that draft. Oh, God. Oh, another thing that I was wrong about. So I was wrong about Kevin Knox. And my initial reaction to trading away what ended up becoming Jalen Duren for just more cap space to sign Jalen Brunson with at the time was not met with positivity from yours truly. And I think that is certainly justified considering the importance and value of rookie deals in today's NBA business, that you are willing to give up team control for the next 7 years of a top 12 pick so that you can give Jalen Brunson more money and we go overpay a guy again. This is what the Knicks had always done these years. It's like overpay someone in unrestricted free agency and it just doesn't work out for whatever reason. Or you trade away all those assets to Carmelo Anthony when you could have just waited until the offseason to sign him. Well, I'm going to have to eat that one because I'm not going to shy away that I was originally upset by creating cap space with the draft picks because somebody out there valued this tiny little Jalen Brunson, smallest guy on the floor, and we're about to pay him like he's an A-lister. What the fuck are we doing? I think that was all the initial reaction there. That one, for sure, I will eat. Sorry, these chats, I got to stop yapping because you guys, there's 19,000 of you in here. And I need to catch up on some of these chats, so I will do that now. Max says, if the Knicks win, will you eat a piece of broccoli on stream in the Late Night with Wob series finale? Sure. I don't know where I'm going to find the broccoli. Well, remember, if the Knicks win the championship, that means I'm going to be at the game. So there's probably going to be no content after as I'm celebrating somewhere in the middle of a zombie pit. Or since I'm hoping to be credentialed, that I can try and spend it in the locker room and ask some questions and pretend to do some work while I pour beers on my head. So just be prepared for the last night. I will be quite silent. Cross that bridge when we get there. How about that? I'm gonna have to be doing a lot of traveling. I haven't traveled for the finals like this. I went to the Raptors Warriors finals in 2019. But the main one that I was doing all out of pocket and stuff was 2016, where I went to Cleveland after they won Game 6. So the entire world was going to Oakland for the game at Oracle. I went to Cleveland just in case they won, and that ended up being one of the best decisions of my careers. I had boots on the ground. I was doing late night with Wob multiple times until the sun came up. I wrote an article the next day for Fox Sports. That was 2016 Wob. That was still really like grinding and aspiring to have a career in content. So I stayed up all night, as much film and getting videos of fans. Just the grind, man. The never ending churn and necessity for creating new content. I was certainly up for it in my mid 20s, but different era back then. I'm so sure glad I did it. That was one of the best nights of my life. And I didn't even really have a dog in the fight. Kurzai says 2015 was the Melo injury year. Shumpert and Amari had injuries. Derek Fisher was the coach. 65 losses. I forgot about Derek Fisher being our head coach, man. My God. All these. Jeff Hornacek. Derek Fisher. Fizdale. How many Phil Jackson? How many Knicks coaches? Larry Brown. How many times has there been a Knicks coach? The D'Antoni era. God, the Knicks were like, they were just such the Knicks for so long, man. It's crazy how far they've come. It's okay. I'm the sin. You are welcome back into, you are freed from Wob prison. When I was calling you out for Harden, he said in the chat, Harden did help them win 3 games analytically. Yes. Good one. You're welcomed back with open arms. What's up, Ian? Welcome back to the chat. Says, you don't think Point Cat is the answer against Oklahoma City? Haven't tried it against them yet. Oh, we have. Oh, we have tried to get Karl-Anthony Towns the basketball at the top of the arc. They are in full deny of the passing lanes. How many times I watched Case and Wallace just rip it from him? They are going to jump that and prevent that from happening if we play Oklahoma City. It'll be the first thing you notice in game 1. Our defense or our offensive dynamic is completely changed because we can no longer get an entry pass to the most important guy, our hub, Karl-Anthony Towns. That's a great question, though. You don't think Point Cat is the answer? We haven't tried it yet. It's because we couldn't do it. That's why I struggled to find us getting more than 1 or 2 victories. I'm happy to eat my words. I hope this goes into the Kevin Knox, Jalen Brunson, free agency draft trading files of Wob. But I have to pick with my brain and root with my heart. So I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from. Mike Woodson, chat. Thank you, YouTube. Mike Woodson. How could I forget about Woody? Remember that gif of him and Rasheed Wallace preventing him from coming in the locker room, man? Those are the days. Woodson was good for us. He coached the J.R. Smith teams. Di Gordon. I thought about Tibbs during the post-game celebration. I hope he gets his due if the Knicks end up winning a championship. He doesn't need a ring or anything, but man, he is a major contributor to building that blue-collar basketball mentality and culture back in New York. I will not forget about Tibbs, and I hope other fans don't as well. Brian says, the one time I've been to New York for Super Bowl 48 with the Seahawks, I got tickets to see LeBron and the Heat play the Knicks. Frankie smokes Ntilikina. I still believe in Ntilikina. Man, well, why didn't he was just always so scared playing, man. Why did he had all the physical traits to be a really good player. He's like 6'7". He had a 7+ foot wingspan. Could handle the basketball, rarely turned it over. He just was never aggressive enough to score. Chris Copeland. Oh, he was the future. LD Stroud. I thought Chris Copeland was the future for the Knicks. That guy was a 6'8" Landry Shamet, an original floor stretcher. He was before his time. Now, the world has always needed three-point shooters, but his role on the Knicks was to deem the respect of his defensive assignment to allow the Knicks stars to go out there and cook. He was always out there for his floor stretching ability, first and foremost. J.R. Smith was in that category too, but he was a little bit more of a slasher and a creator. Chris Copeland was just touch and fire, touch and fire. Chris, what a callback. Love that. Quincy AC, Knicks, great. Lance Thomas at one point was the Knicks' longest tenured player. Wob, last but certainly not least, we have to shout out the GOAT Frank Ntilikina. Quote, he is elite defensively, was a crazy copium for a long time. We were down bad, John's Lime. We were out here defending Frank Ntilikina. He's actually not that bad. That's what it was like to be a Knicks fan for about 15 years there in the 2000s. Ronaldo Balkman, the dreaded Ronaldo Balkman draft. That was the Steph Curry draft, if I'm not mistaken. He was a high motor guy. He reminded me of Kenneth Faried. No, the bowl of soup that J.R. Smith threw was with the Cavs, not with the Knicks. That was in the I think the conference finals or the finals. He threw it at Damon Jones. Losing the Zion lottery in the moment was bad, but we got RJ from that. I remember feeling somewhat disappointed, but not completely. It's personal, says Wob. You said at the start of the season that Mike Brown's biggest challenge was expectations. Do you think he's past them now? Well, the goalpost has certainly moved now that Knicks fans want blood. They want to taste the Larry O'Brien trophy. They want to drink from it like a Lakers chalice. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, Mike Brown has met the expectation for sure, regardless of the result in the finals. Sorry, chat's still popping off here. Frederick Weiss mentioned in the chat. Habino says, am I wrong on taking a loan to sit in the 300s for game 3? Yeah, I would not take a loan, considering interest rates are probably in the 20s. Please consume the Knicks responsibly. As you would gamble, as you would consume alcohol, consume the Knicks responsibly. You're not just spending money that you don't have. If you're taking out a loan, you're paying interest, and the interest that you're paying, you're missing out of the opportunity cost of the market just going up every day. Every day that you don't have every dollar invested in the S&P, you're missing out on 20% of its value by the end of the calendar year. Is that worth going to a Knicks game that they're not guaranteed to win? Maybe, maybe not. I just wouldn't consider it the smartest decision, but you only live once. What are you going to do? Die with all that money? Who gives a fuck? Don't listen to me. Mike Woodson won a series. That felt like we won the finals after we beat Boston that year. If the Knicks win the title, please make a one shining moment with all the shitty moments you endured to get there. That is one of the best ideas I've ever heard. So if they play the Spurs, I'm making the third edition of my finals hype video. That's going to take 2 to 3 days. I have to do my season moments video that takes 3 8-hour sessions to create. The one that I do as soon as the finals are over every single year. And now I just got one of the greatest content ideas I've ever heard. Bring back the one shining moment with all the shitty Knicks moments in the 2000s that led to this. I might have to fucking do that. Chat, is that a great idea? One shining moment that led to this. Yes. Invest in ETFs. They are very easy to find. VOO on Vanguard is the one your boy is in, Jish. That's a great idea. Thank you. It's personal. If anyone asks, I will shout you out for the creative idea, because that's phenomenal. 20 years of enduring this just to finally win. That's one of the most relatable pieces of content for anyone that's been following the Knicks since 1999. Easily. That's a brilliant idea. Brilliant. If the Knicks win it all, you got to burn the World War II book. I will do that as well. I will do that as well, Habino. Shout out to Ron Baker. Ron Baker in the chat. You can't be mad that RJ Barrett's gone. RJ Barrett brought us OG Anunoby. That doesn't happen unless RJ's as legit as he is. What's up, Carly? Thanks for delaying your bedtime. Good to see you here. All the locusts are out and about. Langston Galloway. The good news is with that one shining moment video, I can pull a lot of the footage from the original Knicks one shining moment video from that 2015 season. I've already done the hard work. But man, I can pull in like Jeff Hornacek. I can pull in Fizdale. Take that for data. Was that with the Knicks or the Grizzlies? I think he did that with the Grizzlies. Wait, maybe he did it with the Knicks. There's so much content. There's so much material. Something Phil Jackson did. Eddie Curry, Jerome James. Oh, that would hit so hard. Alexei Shved, Pablo Prigioni. Let's go. Shout out to Langston Galloway for being one of the first WAB interviews on Buckets. Season 1? I think season 1, Langston Galloway. Harden at the press conference. Oh, I got some quotes here as they're starting to speak. Harden at the press conference, quote, genuinely, I do feel like we're the better team. There's no way. Come on. Harden. Don't do this to yourself. It's already. Oh, Grizzlies for sure. Damn it. Yeah, that was the Grizzlies. Damn it. Sorry. If the Knicks win the title, well, oh shit, I don't know if he'd be up for this, but I have been scheming with Helwick behind the scenes to do a live Helwick saxophone Gallinari concert. But he's not going to be up for it if the Knicks beat the Spurs in the finals. That's his team. I was going to have him perform the Gallo as part of our last late night with Wob. He was analytically speaking. He wasn't talking about the actual series or teams. The Nuggets fight in 2006 has to be in the one-shotting moment. That was the fight. Nate Robinson, J.R. Smith was in there. That was a real fight. Carmelo got pushed aside in there, I think. Knicks Game 3 starting price for tickets, $3,838. Yeah, those are all speculative. That's spec pricing. Those brokers likely don't even have the tickets. They're just spec pricing, and they'll fill the order later. But I would say 3,000 feels about right. That's where it'll end up. March 11, 2020, when Dolan was the only one who voted to keep the season going. It's just a little pandy. It's just a little pandemic. Sideline Films, what's up? Says, what are the 3 best possible jersey matchups for these finals, Wob? Oh, are you kidding me? First of all, the away Knicks Blues in San Antonio against, they don't have the Fiesta homes, they have the Fiesta aways. A classic Spurs home silver and black. I'm sorry, white with silver and black trim versus the Knicks Royal Blues. And then at the Garden, the Knicks traditional home whites against the traditional silver and black of San Antonio. It's just so fucking pure, but gabagoo. Oh, classic uni. Classic. Oklahoma City, they're also royal blue, so it won't look as good. Yeah, I don't like that the two blues are overlapping each other. Spurs Knicks should be the series that everyone is rooting for. The history with the 99 finals, the crossover, the uniform matchups, the Aesthetics of it all. Oh, I think Helwick would do it for me too. Maybe we just pre-record it with Helwick so that if his team loses in the finals, the video's still available. And he doesn't have to give us sad saxophone. By the way, the Knicks haven't lost a game since we put the Profit X victory chain up after every Knicks victory. 11 in a row? I've lost track. 11 in a row. They have to get. Can you imagine if the Knicks wear their Kith uniforms in a finals? They wear those word hour, like the shadow New York. It's got the little shadows in the background. In the finals? Yeah, get that couple extra $100,000 in jersey sales from wearing that shit in the finals. Sure, it's worth it for the damage you're doing to your brand. No, I don't like the black and orange. No. The Knicks wear, this is the greatest jersey, a classic New York Knicks uniform right here. Now it's champion, of course, but the trim from the 90s. This is John Starks, by the way. Look how fucking pure this is. Are you kidding me? It's classic. It's got history. It's got relevance. I mean, kids still wear it today. Yeah, no chance we see city editions in the fucking playoff in the finals. Come on. Don't even put that into the don't come close to speaking that into existence. That would be a catastrophe. Marty Collins gave a hard foul. Nate Robinson and JR tag teaming or Nate and JR going into the crowd. Melo then decks Jared Jeffries, there's a name, and runs as Jared Jeffries looked like a charging bull getting held back going after Melo. Great fight. The NBA will give us home whites because Spurs versus Knicks specifically is just so gorgeous. You can tap into the nostalgia of everyone that was alive for that finals where it was the silver and black on the road for the Spurs and the Knicks in their home whites. And also they should be bringing back that theme from the 90s. Go New York, go New York, go. How they did the starting lineup intros. Got to bring that back. Monsieur to be says, congrats, Rob, from a Bulls fan in Paris, France. Thanks for spending your morning with us. Appreciate it. I would prefer everyone save their congratulations for the actual finals, but I can appreciate a nice gesture. So thank you. Because I'm not feeling in a very celebratory mood. Because job's not done. That's all. Even when the Knicks have 3 wins, I'll be emotionally invested, but I will be of full understanding the job's not done. Has the NBA not taught us by now? You could be up by 30 points. You could be up by 22 points with 7 minutes left in a playoff game and still lose. There are so many things and ways to lose NBA games. No lead is ever safe. Series lead, game lead. That Larry O'Brien on the court is going to look insane in Madison Square Garden. Yeah, it is. They're bringing it back this year, too. It's going to look fucking awesome. That Knicks logo. I used to enjoy the little Knicks logo that fit inside of the circle before they blew it back up, but it's okay. Bears can't be choosers. At least they brought back the blue paint. No more orange paint. The Knicks were perpetually terrible. As long as the paint was orange, it's like a curse. Remember when Amari Stoudemire fight a fire extinguisher before a playoff game? It just all adds to the story. The Knicks are almost, it's not as long, but they have a lot of Boston Red Sox before they ended up winning, or Chicago Cubs before they ended up winning that World Series after those long droughts. This is the basketball now equivalent, the Knicks being New York in the drought, especially with multiple generations. A lot of the same sentiments exist. Carly, I'm sorry for your James Harden loss. You've been a very loyal Harden apologist for so many years, but unfortunately, Father Time has been undefeated against him for now a decade plus. She says Harden deterioration is very sad. Really all downhill after the CP3 hamstring. Yeah. Listen, he was an MVP once upon a time. NBA 75, one of the most creative regular season offensive players of all time. Many things can be true, but he is the last superstar I would ever want on my team in the playoffs, ever since Jonathan Simmons happened to him. San Antonio Houston series from 2017 ish, 2016, no, 20 something. Maybe even before that. It was just over from that moment. I would never trust him as far as I can throw him for the rest of my life. New York was here, says, we're really here, man. We are. Let's go to the finals, shall we? Let's go to the fucking finals. Let's do it. It's going to hit different with the Knicks there. All due respect to every other team, it's going to hit a little different with the Knicks. It wouldn't hit the same next year. Now that the Knicks would be back to back, is there? You know how they've coming out with these new anti-tanking draft rules where you're not allowed to have like a top 5 pick in back-to-back seasons. What if you're not allowed to go to the finals in back-to-back seasons? But yeah, if the Knicks went back to back, it would not hit the same next year. This is like this fan base has had blue balls now for the last half a century. Got a chance, man. Anything can happen, even though they will be deserving underdogs against Oklahoma City. Not all Knicks fans are crazy side talk people, zombies. There are a lot of Knicks fans that have a melting pot of stories and backgrounds. There's Knicks fans I've spoken with that actually saw the Knicks win a championship, the Phil Jackson, Clyde Frazier teams. They were alive for that. So even their perspective is different than mine. They don't feel as tortured. I just find it so fascinating because there's so many different generations. There's so many different kinds of people. New York City is the melting pot of the world, and everyone's a Knicks fan there. So you're going to get your crazies like you do with any fan base, but there are a lot of interesting people that can tell you their story of why this means so much to them. And there's no right or wrong answer either. A younger kid, just because they weren't alive for the torture, doesn't demote them in Knicks fandom. It's all these different little tribes and factions that I think contributes to this story that is, I wouldn't say it's unique, but it sure is fascinating. Nick Gentile says, I watched so many of your videos. Thank you for the videos all year. Genuinely, thank you. You're welcome, my friend. This is a live edition. I hope that's okay. But I wouldn't be doing them. It's difficult to be at home in the middle of December when everyone else is watching football. It's a Friday night West Coast game where the Knicks are playing the Sacramento Kings and no one's going to give a shit about it the very next day. You know, our society has become so fractured now that there is no more monoculture. How many people actually care about this shit? And I would not keep doing those videos unless I knew there was a committed fan base to the way that we cover Knicks basketball. So yeah, it goes both ways. I'm certainly appreciative of the World Wide Web fan base that is for Knicks videos specifically. I've got my police chase people. I've got my locusts. I've got my late night people. I've got my Knicks fans. And I kept doing those videos because I found there to be a community, quantity and quality worthy of committing my time to watch every dribble of every game in the middle of a regular season where most of these players are telling us they don't really give as big of a shit as they do in the postseason. They do not care about these games as much, nor do the coaching staffs or the front offices. They're all optimizing their teams for the playoffs. So trying to take away something from that, create content without being too overreactionary. too hyperbolic considering. Can anyone tell me what the result of the game was in Phoenix this year in the regular season? Like, no one's going to give a shit as soon as the Knicks play another game. So there has to be a reason to keep doing those. But it also helps me stay attached to the team, that I can use all of those experiences and build up over time to now get to the zenith, not the zenith, the climax, I should say, excuse me. The climax of that story is about to happen. You don't sit through a long movie, not just to see the ending. So whether it goes well or not, I do feel a sense of accomplishment in this season, in the work that we have done. And I'm appreciative to all of you that have contributed to making this a sustainable profession and lifestyle for myself. Laker CJ says, I'm happy for you as a Laker fan that was there for this will be the win that turns around the Laker season, but you did. It's just friendly banter. Some people take that shit way too seriously, man. I think Laker fans got so pissed about it because I was so close to Jeannie. Like, Jeannie, how could you be with this guy that keeps making fun of us? She's the first one to laugh at all this shit, man. It's not that serious. I wish the rest of the internet could understand that. But Twitter has just become a vehicle for people to get mad, use it as a conduit to get mad. And some people need that as therapy. So that's why I never take anything personally. I've met so many people in person, and then I look up their Twitter history, adding me, and it's all just like, fuck you. I hate you so much. And then they're like, oh, yo, it's so nice to finally meet you. Like, people are so different in person, man. I don't really take anything personally that's said about me online. Bobby Bacala deserves front row seats for the finals, considering all the times he was watching the Wizards and Kings this season. Breach on that. He was in that front row for all those terrible games. I had that running bit of, if Bobby Bacala has feet on the wood, you better start tanking. And the games were the Kings, the Grizzlies, and the Wizards. I was dead on. That's what the thread is from. Someone in the chat, Bart, I know you're a police chase guy, and he's curious, what's a locust? Can my locust tell him, inform him, educate him on what a locust is? Come over to the Twitter chat. Put it this way, Bart. The locusts drive a Dodge Charger. Thank you. Laker CJ, you wouldn't be here unless you got the show. I understand. I look forward to it. People get so mad. It's almost a relief. You open up the tweet and you read the comments and you're like, Jesus Christ, it could be worse. I could be one of these people who's actually mad at this. And Kent Bazemore went to the scores table. Oh, let's go. We're getting Kent Bazemore minutes. The NBA loves DP in the YouTube chat is asking me, you're going to go to New York and cover the finals now that the Knicks are in it? Yes, if the Knicks have 3 wins, I will attend every single game as hopefully credentialed media so I can speak with the players and coaches after the game's complete. J Rule 89 says, can we talk about how Brogdon retiring opened up a spot for Landry Shamet? Notable. Thank you for that. I will remember that now. Very, very important point. What's funny is the one game I attended as a reporter this year, because I went to the Knicks Bulls game for a bachelor party. That was a 40-point blowout at halftime, by the way. And tickets to get into that bitch were like 350 because it was a Friday of Easter weekend. But the one game I attended as an actual journalist was here in Los Angeles against the Lakers. And I went with the one purpose of asking Mike Brown why Karl Anthony Towns was not being prioritized in the offense as the table setter and initiator, which ended up, of course, being the biggest storyline of the next season when they eventually pivoted those tactics to getting him the ball and letting him decide on what the Knicks should be getting into. But at the time, it wasn't happening, and he wasn't getting shots up. He had almost a straight month where he was averaging 12 field goal attempts per game, and that was it. And it was so noticeable that he was standing in the corner, not involved. The body language was off. Why is he, at the very least, not being asked to create for others? And then with a month and a half to go in the season, shit flipped, and now look where the Knicks are. God, we were all, and I wasn't that's not a proprietary thought, but it was what I was always talking about in these post-game videos. It is what I went to ask him specifically. It's what I was asking people around the team. Like, how does anyone else not see this? Clearly they did. And then they decided it's time to make a change. I guess if it was that easy, they would have been doing it already, but still. Matt, the W Cat, says, I need Wob out with the mutants in Madison Square Garden during the finals. Yeah. If we win the finals, I will do it. I will go out there. Yeah, for sure. But first, I want to, if they let me into the locker room, I would love to have a beer with my guys, Mikhail and Josh Hart, specifically. Carson Bailey in the Twitter chat says, hey, Thunder fan here. I've been to all 4 games so far. After every game, my mom asks me to turn on Late Night with Wob. She wants to hear the belief you have in our hyenas. You do have a pride. Is it a pride or a pack? I think it's a pack. A pack. Pride is lions. Pack of hyenas that I think will win you that series against San Antonio. But, man, it's going to be tough with 2 of them down. When the finals, do I get a tattoo? No, not that far. Yeah, I got some new people just joining the show here. We're up to 24,000 now. Who do you want to win more, the Spurs or the Thunder? I'll just repeat myself for those of you that weren't here for the first couple of minutes that I am Team Spurs. But if AJ Mitchell and Jalen Williams, the J-Dub version, are not available, I reserve the right to change my mind. I have a feeling that if they played in the finals 9 days from now, that one of them would be available, unless they are both seriously injured, as it appears that at least J-Dub might be. But I would prefer San Antonio. I think the Knicks have the defensive strategy and the personnel to be able to execute it properly, as we saw in their 2 victories. Victor Wembanyama will certainly be a sizable, formidable foe. But we didn't win those games by accident, and we probably should have swept them. Oklahoma City, on the other hand, we are unidentifiable. Our offense was unidentifiable the last 2 years against them. So from the sample size of 4 games that I've seen, I would prefer San Antonio, but the Knicks are just taking every single logical explanation as to why they do this well or this poorly, and it just doesn't matter when you just steamroll over the teams like they are. 7-8 says, Shamit's story with us goes back a year before separating his shoulder, getting cut in the preseason, and Westchester trading up to draft him in the G League draft to secure his services. That is deep in the weeds of the business, my friend. Love that. And Landry Shamet, now one of the biggest contributors to this Knicks team. Every time he has stepped on the floor, it's just been game over. He just does not miss right now. Why wouldn't he? He's wide open in the corner. Mike Breen calling finals games at Madison Square Garden. It's going to be a sight to see. He does a great job, by the way, of, if you didn't know that he was the Knicks play-by-play guy, I think he does a fantastic job of balancing and not making it so obvious versus what we saw with the World Series and the Dodgers guy. You could tell, like, it's a little like one-way leaning here, one-way action. A group of hyenas is called a clan, says Bill Bailey. Really? A clan? I did not know that. I would have never guessed that. Thank you. Do I remember Georgetown legend Mike Sweetney? Of course. That was the one pick that all Knicks fans were happy about for 15 years. Yes, yes. And he ended up being the worst pick. Like, Knicks fans know what they're talking about. They just wanted Big East guys with the Knicks. I know him. Remember how the way the Knicks reacted when they drafted Porzingis? Who the fuck is this guy? Fucking walking over here. The Spurs are much better than they were 2 months ago, for sure. So are the Knicks. I think the Knicks will be underdogs against either team. It'll just be a lot shorter against San Antonio because both teams have home court advantage against New York. This will be the first series in which game one is played on the road. And quite honestly, that might work in the Knicks' favor, seeing how they came out of the gates against the Cavs in game one of the conference finals. Have I ever met CoffeeZilla? No. Man, I am not someone, if there is one knock on my career, it is that I did a very poor job in networking outside of my circle of trust. I am not one to like try and be friendly with it. I just don't need or want other friends that I don't have genuine relationships with. That's just more of it's only child syndrome. I just like doing things by myself. I don't feel the need to be extroverted. Doesn't make me an introvert, but I just kind of like doing things solo. It's always the way I've been. Yeah, once again, I'll be at every game in San Antonio if the Knicks had 3 wins. So that would be games 5 and 7. Kemba deserves to celebrate this. Man, I forgot about Kemba. How many years did he play for us? 3? 2? 3? Do I think Murray should have been the second team? Jamal Murray? Yeah, man, this is part of the problem with them waiting so long to give out those individual season awards. Is I forgot how everyone performed in the regular season because we have this recency bias of all their playoff performances. Like Jalen Duren making third team is. Oh man, I forgot we have Jeremy Sohan. Does he have any spy knowledge of the San Antonio Spurs that he can share with us? Is he a secret agent? You guys can hear the poker chips? I thought I was doing that so quietly. Sorry, I got a little itch to do some poker chip shuffling. A lot of shit don't change with me, Carly. This show has been the same since live streaming debuted in 2015. That should be pretty predictable considering I still film videos with my cell phone of my television. That will never change. That's the WAB brand. If you see a blurry video on Twitter, you know where it came from. I don't even need to watermark it. Imagine Julius Randle still on this team. The spacing wasn't anything left to be desired. RJ Barrett, Julius Randle spacing, Jalen Brunson trying to navigate it. Now, do you understand the difference with Karl Anthony Towns' floor spacing out there? Whole new world in what it enabled Jalen Brunson to the level of scorer it permitted Jalen Brunson to ascend to. Not permitted, enabled. Did I get a new TV? At last I did. The Philips exploded. One day I hit a button and it went zip. and then it just never turned on again. I had that Philips since 2006. 38-inch Philips that I got from Best Buy. Put it in the frat house in 2006, and it had been with me ever since. So that TV made it 19 years. Right. Cell phone videos mean no one's going to steal it because everyone knows where it comes from. That's part of the idea. That was always part of the intention of keeping it that way. And it makes some people so mad too. Like, bro, do HD. It just contributes. They're just responding and responding and responding, and they can't let it go. I'm like, why would I ever change when it tilts you so far? Well, friends, 9:28 p.m. Pacific time, 1 hour and 51 minutes into this stream. This was a 2-hour show. Sheesh. Knicks are going to the finals. You'll get at least 4 more of these from me. You have my plans for my attendance, but I hope Knicks fans out there are cautiously optimistic, celebrating because it's a deserved accomplishment, but also understanding that there's still work to be done. I think that's all very safe. Some of you don't want to hear that. You just want to go out and be zombies. So be it. That is your right. And that is a lot of pent up energy after 20 plus years that needs some exerting. MCJR says, wow, bro, I was looking for you on YouTube. Yeah, at ProfitX. Just this ProfitX's YouTube channel's the spillover room for those of you that want to watch on YouTube. The immediacy of the Grady video is what Twitter is about. It's what Twitter used to be about. Times have changed, unfortunately. It's not the same Twitter, but I try my style is never changing. I would love to live in an age of CD players, N64, grainy Twitter videos. Right? I don't like upgrading and changing from the original style. That's just always been the way that I've done content. It's worked so far, I guess, but some people don't understand that. Will I shed some tears if the Knicks win it all? I don't know. Depends how it's done. If it's like a buzzer beater, maybe. If the Knicks win by 30, I don't know. TBD. I've cried only sports. As you can tell, I'm not really one to cry ever. I just don't. I don't feel emotion the same way that most other humans do. I'm very just naturally apathetic. But I can tell you the last 2 times I've cried from for sports reasons. First of which was 2006 AFC Championship game, Colts versus Patriots during the Colts comeback, 21-3, and UNC beating Duke in the Final Four. So yeah, since I wouldn't say it was like bawling tears, but it got dusty enough that there was moisture being leaking from my eye sockets. God bless, Josh. You guys are in that one. All right. On that note, I'm going to sign off. Let's go Knicks. Bring back the 1994 intro for the finals, please. And I'll see you guys on the timeline. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for hanging out. Adios.